He's the founder and CEO of BetaBox Learning, a Raleigh-based education company with a mission of sparking and sustaining hands-on learning in K-12 schools. He's my old friend. He's about to be your friend. Please welcome Sean Newman Maroni.
Thank you. Can we just give a round of applause for Wade with that great stride over to the very impressive. Okay, so yeah, my name is Sean, and I thought it would be good to start off with this quote from the philosopher slash, legendary punk band The Offspring, because I think it really captures what has happened in the K-12 school systems over the last couple years. And the song is called "The Kids Aren't All Right," and I think a lot of us saw that. We just heard an incredible talk about parents. Parents, we understand. No, I'm not a parent, but parents understand that we went through a hard time, and it has shown up. At my company, kind of felt like getting hit by a truck when COVID happened to us, because we run a very hands-on service. We go out to schools with a mobile unit. We do robotics, technology, all sorts of really cool hands-on education. All of that went to zero when the school shutdowns occurred. And so this is what it felt like for our mission. But even more than just the shutdowns, this graph actually made me emotional the first time I saw it. So, for the people that are not data scientists in the room, let me spell this out for you. This was created by the Office of Learning Management and Recovery for North Carolina, and it's actually one of the most comprehensive learning loss reports that has been done by any state. And what they did is they took a cohort from 2018, and they tried to basically predict the test performance, and then they compared that to this most recent batch of students. And so the bigger bars on the right, on that side, that's bad. Those should be the same, but they're larger. And you'll also notice that the blue is a little bit larger than the purple. That means that learning loss, so basically not performing as well as what was projected on things like standardized tests, is actually disproportionately affecting economically disadvantaged counties. And so that's the blue over there. And that was unfortunate for us to hear, because that's where we do our work. So we go out to some of the most rural areas of North Carolina to create these opportunities and experiences. And so it just felt like years of work at BetaBox. We just got this big gut punch, again, like being hit by a truck, because it just felt like we were so set back in our mission due to all of this stuff that's been happening. But then we got a little glimmer of hope, because that solution, or that report, proposed a couple solutions. And that one that's highlighted there was one of the solutions that this report that said, hey, this would be a good thing for us to invest in, recapturing student interest through enrichment and instructional resources. And that's really what we do. All right, quick show of hands. Have you ever had a moment where your faith in humanity was just completely restored? Maybe somebody let you into a parking space or something like that, just anything. All right, got some hands up. Has that moment ever been created for you in your life, by any chance, by a Republican state legislator? Keep any hands up if, no hands? Well, I'm the only one, because this guy actually took a chance on our pilot program, and we got it funded to expand BetaBox. His name is Representative John Torbett. Yes, he's a Republican, but he's a great guy, because he saw the same thing that we saw, that students are hurting and needed this experience. So we got to put out this press release a little while ago, back in February. Hey, we're going to be providing this program for more than 30 school districts, 100 schools. I'm going to show you what it looks like in a moment. So this is pretty exciting, But this talk is about overcoming obstacles. I want you to take a look at that right there, the date we put out this press release. Same week, I actually got in a pretty bad car accident driving one of our BetaBoxes to one of those rural schools in a county, actually in South Carolina. So this really did feel like getting hit by a truck, actually, because that's what happened. And I was in the hospital for about a month, but I'm all better now, as you can see. And that was one of our BetaBoxes that got destroyed. So this was one of those low points in the entrepreneurial journey, right? You hear about the roller coaster, the up and down. So we just had that big up. This great new pilot is funded, right? We're a part of solving this big national problem. And then boom. But overcoming obstacles, right? One foot in front of the other. This is what we teach our kids, right? When they're at the BetaBox and they're not getting the program to work the way they want it to work, it's like, hey, you're not going to get it right the first time. That's what science and technology is, right? It's this story of putting one foot in front of the other, struggling and working through a problem. So we built a new one. We built 3 new ones, actually. And hopefully, I can show you what it looks like.
Program a car from a computer. Today I learned
Do you think you ever might do something like this in your career? Do you think you ever might do something like this in your career?
I do.
This is one of our programs. It's actually in Mississippi. But it's the tip of the iceberg.
We were plugging in.
Just trying to get students excited. Hey, this is something you can do.
It's definitely engaging. It pulls the children in. It makes them want to be able to learn.
Oh, that's so. We're gonna be a robot, take over the world. You right?
It was just fun.
Maybe I just look at this as a potential trajectory for me. So this program's pretty exciting because we're going to do that experience for 12,000 students throughout the state of North Carolina throughout the next year or so. And then briefly, I do want to just make a call for anybody that's interested in the data side. Please come talk to me after because we're going to be having all of these students complete a short career interest quiz basically after that's going to help us get data that we need to really prove, hey, is this something that works? Does it affect learning loss? And we're building out our logic model for that now. So if there's any researchers, education evaluators, please come talk to me after. Would love to chat with you. If you know any schools, you can just send them to that link. That's the apply page. So any school, this is totally free for schools. Please send them there, and then hopefully we can get them enrolled in the program. And there's a bunch we do for teachers in schools afterwards, I should mention, but that's a talk for another day. And again, that's my email. If you're interested in that data question, please reach out to me. Would love to chat. And I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, give it up for Sean Maroni there. Kind of a brief aside, I've known Sean since he started doing this project, however many years ago. It's probably, what, 10 or so? It's been a while.
Almost that many. I don't like to think about it sometimes.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's honestly one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It's a portable, experiential learning facility that can go anywhere. Places that don't have access to this type of technology, they can bring it to them for a limited time, longer-term time. It really is just an amazing project, and I've been a big fan of it from the beginning.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, it's awesome. But now let's get some questions from you about how BetaBox is doing this sort of stuff. So we've got one from our speaker up here.
I'm blown away. That's just fantastic.
Thank you.
I was wondering, there have been several other buses and other groups that have gone around with DNA testing, all of that. UNC has one. Did you look at that and learn what you could from that? And how did you adapt?
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is like a non-zero-sum game. The more enrichment that's available, the better. And so we mostly focus on computer science, technology, and engineering. So we haven't gone into the sciences. We are now. So we're doing like gel electrophoresis and some other stuff starting in the fall. We made a specific decision to set ourselves up as more of a for-profit entity, actually. And so we don't charge the schools. We have industry partnerships and other things that we do. But the reason for that, I noticed a lot of those buses sit on the campuses. They actually don't get out to the schools nearly as much because a grant runs out and then it just sits there. So I decided, hey, let's try to make something more sustainable with like a business model. So the other piece of what we do is the hands-on learning mobile unit is like 10% of what we do for the schools. Afterwards, we offer a ton of hands-on learning lesson plans, professional development, and an equipment checkout program. So every school that gets the mobile unit, up to 5 teachers, well, really it's more than that now, they get free access to all of that. So you can check out a 3D printer, a set of drones, the robot cars from us, like at no cost. And so that's one example of a set of services that we now provide.
Other questions about what they're doing over at BetaBox, please raise your hand. We'll be able to bring the mic out to you. Get those questions answered. We got one over here to your left.
The age?
Middle school and high school. So this program is going to mostly focus on like the transitionary years because that's where the learning loss report, like 6th through 8th. And then we do a little bit more career-focused experiences at the high school level. We do some experiences for 4th and 5th grade, but really it's 6th grade and up that we focus on.
All right, we've got one coming over here to your right.
I think you mentioned you said you have 3 of these. So what territory, like how far are you expanding?
Yeah, we have 12 mobile units. We operate in Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So this program is one of like 5 programs of similar scale that we're currently operating.
They're everywhere. All right, we've got a couple here at the back. We'll go right here to my gentleman with the same haircut as me.
That's right. Hello, Sean. Awesome. You're doing a great job. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely.
So, really inspiring story. I'm interested in 2 things. One is that how did you get interested in this? And secondly, when you had that COVID experience, did you come up with some thoughts of how some of this can actually be done through simulation and 3D models and all that, so that many times you're not able to take the whole physical setup to a school, and sometimes they can actually learn through, I'm sure that video may not be so effective because that's passive, but some type of simulation might be helpful.
Yes, absolutely. So for me, again, it's non-zero sum. So we do, I'll answer the second question first and then the first one. So that simulation stuff, incredible enrichment to do right after the mobile unit leaves, right? We focus on the very hands-on piece because the staff that we bring out there are also really important. The social connection, being able to see somebody, hey, this person went to the same high school that I did, and now they're teaching me this, and you know that kind of in-person connection with our staff that go out with the mobile unit is actually a really important piece. So that's one of the reasons that we've stuck this very hands-on, real-world thing. But afterwards, we do a lot of lesson plans for teachers, and they leverage a lot of simulation and other technologies that can be done in the classroom. To answer the first question, you know, why did I get interested in this? You know, I realized I got really lucky. You know, I kind of won the geographic lottery because I grew up and I didn't have any choice in the matter in a place where they had a really great school system, you know. So I grew up in an area where I got a cool education. My dad was an engineer. He brought home all sorts of cool hands-on stuff for me to do. And then I had a few experiences in college, some things that I did, some volunteer stuff, and I realized like, oh wow, I live in a complete bubble, and like 95% of American young people don't get the experience that I got. So that was the initial kernel of just kind of realizing, that, right? And so that was the initial thing that catalyzed it, and I've still been doing it today just because, like the stories, like that video that you saw, I mean, you know, it's just a cool thing to be a part of.
Next question is coming from about 2 people back.
It's a great story. I love your product. How do you incorporate student voice and choice in your model? So do you ever have focus groups to get student ideas, or do you do any pre-research to kind of figure out what you're going to do, what you're going to offer at the school, or is it all teacher driven? I'm wondering.
Yeah, I mean, we do. Well, first of all, it's kind of like almost like how I imagine stand-up comedy would be. Like if the audience doesn't laugh, like you know your thing stinks. So we get a lot of real-world feedback from teachers, or I'm sorry, from students in real time. So we look for the wow factor, like when students are like, there's some good student voice right there. So there is a tight feedback loop with the experiences themselves, and we're constantly iterating, tweaking the scripts, looking for those moments, really kind of designing it to optimize for like the excitement or the moments. And then the other piece is we do student testing and teacher testing for like all of our follow-up lesson plans and our real-world experiences. So we're testing actually some science stuff right now. So we've shipped out kits to teachers. They're trying them in their classroom. They're giving us, what they saw. So you know, we get a lot of student voice like by trying things and failing with things out in the mobile unit, and then the teacher stuff, we try to get feedback from them ahead of time.
And our last question will be coming right in front of you, Sean.
Don't know if you want it in front of you. I might say. No, you can hear me without this.
Yeah, sure. The TV people. Oh, the TV.
It's on. Just talking to him. All right. So the couple questions I have for you with this program, I think it's great. I think, have you looked at both domestic and international with this? For one thing, and have you looked at working with NGOs in this arena?
Yes, we do get
I'm not done.
emails. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to be. No, but no, I think it's a great arena for that. And have you looked at setting up mentoring groups with this as an extension of what you're doing?
We haven't looked too much into mentoring groups, so I'm curious if you want to chat with me after about your ideas there. In terms of international, we get emails like once a month from people all over the place that want to bring this experience. We did do a partnership with one organization called DAI that provided this service. We actually set up a makerspace in Oman, which was a really cool experience. We don't focus on much international though, because there's a lot of challenges like right here in the U.S., right in our state. You drive 20 miles up the road, and they need this, right? So, we mostly focus on like the southeast of the U.S. right now. It doesn't mean the service can't be incredibly valid and useful in other places. It's just not really where our focus is right now.
All right, give it up for Sean Newman Maroni.